This is the first video for June because if you didn't know, I'm doing 2 videos a month for June, July, and August. Now, I guess you could say that the Amazing Digital Circus video was the first video in June. But then again, I guess you could say the Summer Plans video was the first one in June. Point is, this is the first main video for June. The Digital Circus video doesn't count, I guess. Now, 2021 had some pretty mixed bag horror movies. You got some good ones like Black Phone, Black Friday, Halloween Kills, VHS 94. You got some bad ones, Candyman 2021, Don't Breathe 2, Old, Spiral. You got some absolutely amazing ones like the Fear Street Trilogy, Sun, Last Night in Soho, and the topic for today's video, Willy's Wonderland. It follows a quiet drifter who is tricked into cleaning up an abandoned family entertainment center inhabited by 8 murderous animatronic mascots who are possessed by the souls of a cannibalistic killer and his colleagues. Now, if that sounded like a lot, I just need you to trust me and get off my back, alright? The idea was made in 2019, with screenwriter Parsons having conceived the idea itself. It caught Cage's attention, who agreed to participate as both an actor and a producer. Lewis was hired as director in December 2019, while the main cast joined in February 2020. Now, Willy's Wonderland was scheduled for a worldwide theatrical release on October 30th, 2020, but was removed from the calendar due to, COVID-19 causing the closure of theaters across the globe, if you remember that. So, Willy's Wonderland is a 2021 American action comedy horror film directed by Kevin Lewis from a screenplay written by G.O. Parsons. The film stars Nicolas Cage, who also served as producer along with Emily Tosta, Rick Reitz, David Sheftel, and Beth Grant. I really hope I said all those names correctly because I am not re-recording it. It was announced on January 15th, 2021 that it would be available for digital distribution, and it was eventually released through video on demand and received a limited theatrical release on February 12th, 2021. Due to being delayed by the pandemic, it was released in Saudi Arabia. Jesus Christ, I can't talk today. Who cares? I'm not re-recording it. Willy's Wonderland grossed around $418,286 in North America and grossed $38,858 in other territories for a worldwide total of around $457,144 against a budget of $5 million. Which, if you know movies and production and such, that's not good, like in the slightest. The film grossed $97,164 in its opening day and made $107,145 over the 4-day President's Day weekend? Sure. What a mouthful. The following day, it grossed $203,000, with Croatia grossing $12,734, with the UAE grossing $14,191. If that's a lot of numbers, just wait. And with all that background information out of the way, let me explain to you why Willy's Wonderland is one of my favorite movies of all time. Alright, so the movie begins on the outskirts of Hayvale, Nevada. But no tricky clowns around these parts, just a pair of convenient and not at all purposefully placed road spikes. Nicolas the Cage is here, and he's not going to say a single word in the entire movie. He's picked up by a local mechanic, Jed Love, who takes him to Willy's Wonderland, a once successful abandoned family entertainment center. And now, though the movie takes place in Nevada, the actual movie where it was filmed is somewhere in Georgia. Inside of the restaurant, we meet the gang. An alligator named Artie, a chameleon named Cammy, an ostrich named Ozzy, a turtle named Tito, a knight named Nighty, a gorilla named Gus, and a siren named Sarah, and the main man himself, a weasel named Willy. Roll credits. Back outside, the restaurant's owner, Tex McAdoo, offers him work as a night shift janitor in exchange for repairing his vehicle before he and Jed leave him locked inside of the restaurant. A little while later, a teenager named Liv Hawthorne attempts to burn down the restaurant but gets handcuffed by her guardian, Hayesville's sheriff named Eloise Lund. After Lund leaves Liv, she's saved by her friends, Chris, Kathy, Aaron, Bob, and Dan. You probably won't remember their names, and that's okay, because they're going to die anyways. Let's move on. As the janitor begins his duties, the animatronics are revealed to be sentient and homicidal. Ozzy somehow sneaks up on Nick and threatens him. Now, this would be bad if, again, this wasn't Nicholas the Cage. Nicholas learns that the bird is easy to parry until Ozzy gets a cut on him. Bad move, bro. Gage decides to absolutely go ham on Ozzy, breaking his mop on his knee and beating the absolute shit out of him. Then he rips out the bird's throat. Add him to the count. Will this count be a recurring instance in this video and definitely won't be forgotten by the time I finish editing this video in the editing booth? You think I respect you? You think I respect myself enough to add a continuous counter in this video of all the animatronic deaths? Maybe. I don't know. Now, Nick goes back to cleaning, simply, of course. He is dedicated to getting that Chevrolet Camaro 2SS 2020 black model no sponsor. Meanwhile, Liv and her brainless friends notice that he's inside, and they end up coming up with a plan to get him out and burn the place down afterwards. Liv goes through the vents, and her friends go to the roof for some reason. Even more meanwhile, Gus Gorilla gets the greatly needed jump on the janitor. They get into a cage fight, they scuffle for a while, and eventually Gus bites the curve of a urinal, that is. Back in the vents, Liv is chased by Artie the alligator and ends up in a forest, which is a really cool set piece. Surely we'll get to see this set piece again in the film, yes? No, but that's okay, because the rest of the movie's fun. Get off my back! Anyways, Liv fights Sarah for a while, but she ain't got that cage in her, so she loses and runs away. Outside, Liv's friends climb to the roof, like I said, which collapses and causes them to fall inside into a ball pit that most likely smells like piss.
It be piss.
Liv then explains to the janitor that the restaurant was originally owned by the notorious serial killer Jerry Robert Willis. I've never heard of him, but he must be notorious. Now, Willis and his 7 cannibalistic colleagues slaughtered unsuspecting families, but the authorities eventually discovered them. They performed a satanic ritual to transfer their souls into the animatronics before committing suicide. Which, just completely side note, unrelated to the movie, if people get triggered by the word suicide, not only is that what I think the word is supposed to do, since it's a serious topic, but also people who say unalive themselves, especially when talking about serial killers, even if it's fictitious, in this case and scenario, you're gay. All right? First off, happy Pride Month. Second off, dude, there's no reason to be censoring yourself. You're not going to get any punishments from it. Especially me. I'm not getting a punishment at all from it. Name me one punishment I can get from saying suicide. Plus, we're not even in the first minute, so it's probably fine. I don't know, YouTube. I've only been here for like 2 years, maybe. Anyhow, back to the actual film we're talking about. Where was I? Oh yeah, this is all the backstory that we get on the killers for the movie, at least. There are actually 4 prequel comic books that most people don't know about. So I'll talk about the ones that we know already, before we talk about the actual characters that have more backstory to them. First off, Ozzy, man, so Ozzy's possessor was just a child when his mother strangled him, damaging his vocal cords and causing him to become mute for the rest of his life. What a wonderful start. The trauma caused him to become a serial killer, targeting women at universities and killing over 20 people before getting put in an asylum where he met Jerry. Gus, on the other hand, didn't have trauma. He was instead originally a janitor at a zoo. He loved hanging around the gorillas, and everything was peaceful. He fed them bananas and such, until some jackass came in and insulted him and his stupid gorillas anyways. Gus then beat her face into a pulp, which eventually ended up into the asylum, where he met Jerry. Back to the movie. Willy sings them a little song about chickens or something, I don't know. Nighty Night then impales one of the random friends. I think it was Bob. I think. I don't know. You probably forgot him too. The following chaos that ensues is literally great. Let me tell you. Nighty chases Liv down while the others run away to different parts, and eventually the janitor returns and scuffles with Nighty just long enough to bash his head to the ground and decapitate him with his own sword. Going back to the comics, Nighty was originally a Renaissance knight who wasn't talking at all, because I guess it's his job or something, I don't know. Eventually, 2 dip teens harass him to the point where he snaps and brutally impales the 2 teens, and eventually gets arrested and meets Jerry. Which, Just a couple notes there. Why does a real Renaissance festival have real swords in this public area with kids running about? This clearly doesn't seem like a good idea. This sounds like a way this Renaissance festival could get sued. Surely I'm not in the minority here by thinking that. If I was in a Renaissance festival and some dude I barely met came running at me with a real metal sword that can impale me, dude, if I even get touched by that blade, I'm suing. If I don't die first, obviously. Back in the movie, big censor warning. I don't remember the word. I think it's strobophobic. Anyways, the nerdy guy, I forgot his name, don't ask me, goes into the most strobophobic room ever designed. Oh boy. Yeah, that hurts my eyes there. Anyways, he gets cornered by Sarah and Tito, I believe. Very hard to see, don't question it. Seriously, my back is where you are, and I need you to get off of it. Anyways, the turtle and the siren eat him, basically. The couple of the group go into the super happy fun time Willy room or something. Wait, is that a Total Drama World Tour reference? When the hell did I write this? Anyways, and despite their friend dying in front of them, just like a minute ago at max, dude, they get it on, bro. Watchy watches them have fun in the Willy. Wait, what? Artie watches them have fun with Willy in the room. Willy's not in. Oh, okay, my bad. Wow, man, I'm just breaking the fourth wall a lot in this episode. I really don't mean to. Anyways, they watch him have fun with their own Willy. Like the cuck he is, before mauling them. I'm pretty sure that's not the finish they were thinking of, but honestly, who cares? Cage enters the room seeing two half-naked teens and Artie, and he proceeds to pry Artie's jaws open and break his skull. His weird tongue flapping around, too. So, in the comics, Artie is described as the Zodiac killer of sorts, finding his victim and using their blood to paint pictures at the crime scene. He was apparently also a killer teacher, killing students or other faculty. It's unclear, I believe. Which, obviously, resembles the Zodiac killer in real life. Back to the movie. Janitor and Liv find Tito and Sarah after eating the nerdy guy in the hall. Nick just goes ahead and, knocks him out. Yeah, just fully just docks these two. Next up is this kid. He hides in an arcade machine until Cammy appears and manipulates him. The kid calls the sheriff from earlier and exits. Janitor and Liv appear just in time to see this kid get his neck absolutely snapped. Janitor is about to fight Cammy until he gets a break, which I am now realizing I've not mentioned once yet, so I think I mentioned it sometime later in the video. Just, dude, seriously? My back is hurting from you being on it too much. Please get off my back. He leaves Liv with her knife that she tried to use on Sarah earlier, and they scuffle, but after his break, Cage returns and strangles her. Skip a bit, and the sheriff appears and takes Liv to go to the officer car. She then zip-ties Cage and leaves Cammy and Sarah to kill him, but again, this is Nicholas the Cage, so, he just strangles Sarah with his cage and spins Cammy head over and over. According to the comics, Cammy is actually a separate patient in the asylum. What she's in for? I don't know, but she has DID, so Jerry calls her a personality chameleon, and the rest is history. Don't even get me started on the wacky misinterpretation of DID. That's what the Chapter 4 review is for. Video coming out at 100 subscribers, by the way. Another interesting thing about Cammy is that her brother is Jed, the mechanic in the movie. Back to the movie, though. Liv and the officer are driving until they stop, and Tito pulls the officer out and kills him, because apparently no one noticed this giant hunk of metal on top of their car. And Tito was just apparently the silentest killer in the world. Liv exits the car and beats on Tito's balls, because... Of course she does. Now, Tito and Sarah die last in the movie, so we'll talk about their backstories now. Sarah. So she was a ballet instructor until she found out that her husband was cheating on her, so she killed him and his affair partner in front of a whole crowd of people. Bam! Asylum. Then Jerry, of course. Tito was actually a worker on a field. He was good at being friends with the turtles until one of his coworkers disrespected his turtle, and so he killed them all. All his coworkers, not just the one that did him wrong. All of them. He's probably the first of the 8 into the asylum, so yeah. Wonderful. Now, back to the film. The sheriff returns and Willy kills her. He also gets some moves on Cage, and then after Nick pairs up with some sodas and the mop he killed Ozzy with, he starts smacking his Willy around. Seriously, who wrote this? What the hell? And eventually he bashes Willy's head in with a mop, just like he did Ozzy, and then pulls his head off with his bare hands. Even though there's not a bear in this one. You see what I did there? Where's the laugh track coming from? The next day, Jed and Tex McAdoo arrive and assume Nicolas Cage is dead, so in honor of him, they do donuts in his Chevrolet Camaro 2SS 2020 black model, no sponsor, outside of Willy's. Speaking of which, Cage then exits and they back off, and Liv gets back. They ride off into the sunset and run over Tito. Meanwhile, Sarah's greeting Jed and Tex McAdoo with an explosion. Movie ends with a Looney Tune end card. Now that we've talked about the movie, let's talk about why I think this movie is the best of 2022 and one of my favorites of all time. So, first off, I barely mentioned it, but the character designs for the mascots are amazing, despite the fact that some of them most definitely look like and are just humans, Nighty specifically. My favorites do happen to be Ozzy, who is a full puppet, as shown on the footage on screen now, and funnily enough, and ironically, Nighty. The kills are perfectly executed in this video. Video? What the hell am I talking about? Someone take this mic away from me. The kills are perfectly executed in the movie, and the set design in Willy's is amazing. The forest and the actual restaurant itself is really fun. The acting is sloppy, of course, but in the best way, like a Tubi movie. Nicolas Cage is the best at everything he does, so in the movie, the cinematography is so fun. The soundtrack, composed by Emoy, I think, is a banger, and what else can I say? Yeah. The scenes of Cage playing pinball like Dippy Fresh in 1975. Seriously, who wrote this? The animatronic backstory given in the comics helped them make the movie even better. In fact, on every rewatch, this movie gets better. I try to watch this movie every year, and man, it's worth it. I love this movie, and a lot of other people do. I can sing, I can dance, I can hold this one. I don't know how much more I can say without dragging this out for runtime, so I think we'll wrap it up now. The point is, I love this movie, and you should watch it if you haven't. But if you didn't like this movie when you did watch it, you should probably try it again. But if you didn't like that movie and you're above the age of 21, may I suggest going on shrooms first? This movie's a trip on shrooms. I say as if I've ever taken shrooms. I can only assume that this movie would be a trip on shrooms. Yeah. Alright, here we are again. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. This video is probably my favorite for now. I love rewatching this masterpiece. The movie, not my video. And if you enjoyed this style of review essay sort of thing, let me know. Tune in either this week or next week for FNAF Games Ranked. Until then, I think I only have one more thing to remind you of. At 100 subscribers, I will do a full review of the worst game I've ever played, Safe Haven Chapter 4 of Poppy Playtime. But for now, that is it. I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye, fellas.